Howdy folks, in this lecture I'm going to show you how to install Office, Microsoft Office. So a lot of people want to have it with a product key and activation key. You can buy it separately or you can buy the whole package which costs you like $100 or something. But in this lecture I'll make an endeavor to install it without having the activation key and without needing a license. So it's not illegal, it's legal because you're gonna utilize a developer's tool to initialize the process of activations from the Microsoft repository. Okay, so the process is not necessarily as simple as one may think, but you have to have certain background knowledge about how computers work. So you don't have to be super good in computers. I'm not a Windows person, so I haven't worked in Windows for a long time. I work as a Java developer and mostly work in Red Hat system, that is basically Linux server. But I'm going to give it a shot and see whether it can work out in Windows. So I've never worked in Windows 11 before. Actually, I don't work in Windows at all. This is Windows 10. Okay, so I'm doing it in Windows 10. Okay, so if you have Windows 7, I don't know, go figure, look into some YouTube video or whatever. So the first thing I'm going to do is basically, this is Windows 10 and you can see this is Windows 10. So I'm going to go into settings, and if I go into what do you call it, your update and security, and then you can see something called activations, and so this Windows 10 is already activated. So basically when I bought this little machine, it came with Windows 10 Pro and it is activation, Windows is activated. So this message, this kind of message we need, but it came with Windows, it didn't come with Office. Okay, so the Office is expensive stuff, expensive package. So I don't particularly work or needed Office, but you do need Microsoft Excel because it is kind of super good in terms of the latest things they do is basically you have the Power Kit, so you have Power Query, Excel pivot table and Power Pivot, which is very fast and very powerful. And then you have what do you call it, a programming language called Data Analysis Expression, DAX. So they're all kind of packaged into Microsoft Excel version 2016 onward. So the Power Query is important because it helps you to create a data model. So you need the data model. What I meant by data model is basically entity relation model that you need for your SQL. Okay, so to bring the data and actually clean the data and do things like a static schema or entity relation model or one-to-one or one-to-many relationship, if you want to say it that way. And then you can save it as a text file or CSV file, and then bring it into your MySQL database server or PostgreSQL database server. So that's why I do need Excel to work with Java in the backend with MySQL as a database server. So that's one of the reasons I'm making this video or trying to help other people with doing this kind of stuff. Okay, so it's not for actually people who wanted to utilize Excel for just writing some spreadsheet or something. Okay, you can do that with Libra. So when I bought this machine, so it came with what you call it, Open Office org. They are really good, they are good stuff for doing anything that you want to do, but they are not necessarily as good as like Microsoft Excel. And when I say about Microsoft Excel, I'm not talking about granddad's Excel. We're talking about really revolutionary stuff like Microsoft Self-Service Business Intelligence Stack. So you got Power Kit, Power Query, Power Pivot, DAX, and obviously Power BI. They're really good stuff. So that's why we need Office, Office 2024 maybe or 2021. So I am envisage, or I'm going to do or trying to do Office 2024. Okay, so that will come with Power Query in Excel, Microsoft Excel. I don't need Word, but I'm gonna do with Word as well. Certain things that I don't need Access, for example, or VCO or VGO, whatever you call it, Publisher, whatever. I may need presentations, PowerPoint presentation. So we can choose which one we need. Okay, so we'll see how it goes. So you see Windows is already activated, so don't have to worry too much about it. But Office didn't come with this machine, so you don't see any Office right here. Okay, so you see Office, what do you call it, Open Office, and they're really good as I mentioned, but they are not as good as Microsoft Office. So what I'm gonna do first is basically I'm gonna walk you through one step at a time, so bear with me. So this lecture is very relaxed. it's not, I'm not making it like a professional to make some money out of it. And some people do all kind of lectures just to like a clickbait in YouTube, so you can put, people want to see this and that. I'm not going to do that. I don't really care. I don't need to make any money out of YouTube videos. I'm going to put it out on YouTube. If you want to see it, you can see it. If you don't see it, that's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to File Manager. Okay, so you have this Windows File Manager. Hate it. I don't like this one. So in here, the first thing I'm gonna do, under your quick access, in here, or in the downloads directory, okay, wherever, so you probably able to, the problem with this, I hate Windows, I just annoying. So you can't really, under downloads, okay, under downloads you can create a new directory. So I'm going to create a new directory. They call it folder. I want to call it Office. Okay, just call it Office. Okay, so we're gonna, at one point we're gonna copy this directory altogether. So we're gonna put some stuffs right there. That's why I created this directory to start off with. Okay, so this directory will hold certain stuff. So before you do anythings in terms of Office, I want to point out something else. So if you go into settings right there, this other thing that you need to look into, that you see I am actually user. So if you go into your accounts, okay, so you see that I'm actually logged in with outlook.com. So you have to have a Microsoft account. Okay, so that's really important, because without that Office things will complain. Okay, when you actually install Office, it will complain because you don't have a Microsoft account for whatever reasons. Okay, so it's good to have your user account, so you can create a user account, and when you create that user account, make sure this like Microsoft. It's outlook.com is basically your Hotmail. It used to be Hotmail, now it is Outlook. So I have an outlook.com account. Okay, so that's my email address, redhatter75 at outlook.com. So I am logged in, or user, as an user. Okay, user because I work as a Red Hat system, basically Java developed in Red Hat, which is server-side operating systems, thousands times better than Windows. That's why my nickname is Red Hat, or Red Hatter. So Red Hatter 75 at outlook.com. So I'm logged in, or logged in as, okay, Red Hatter 75. So you make sure that you have an Outlook account and you're logged in Windows with your Outlook account, not like a normal user or whatever. And don't open an account with Gmail. It may work with Gmail, I don't know, I don't care. So here we go. So this is something that you need to do as a prerequisite. So what I'm gonna do, I've created the directory. So the first thing with what we do need to do, you need to go to Firefox, which is my favorite browser. You can utilize any other browser if you want. And then what we need to do is basically we're gonna type up in here Office Deployment Tool. This is Windows site for developers. Okay, so we're gonna do, just type Office Deployment Tool, Office Deployment Tool or something. Okay, so if you type Office Deployment Tool, it'll come up with this particular website. Okay, so download Office Deployment Tool, and this is Microsoft, and you see from the URL, or Universal Resource Locator over there. No thanks, so we forget that. So this is Microsoft.com. So from this particular website, so that's all legal, legit. Okay, it's nothing dark going on here. Okay, so from here, Office Deployment Tool. Okay, you just click this download tab, and it will download this particular file called Office Deployment Execution File .exe file. That file is critically important. Okay, that file is really important for us, and it's an executable file. Okay, so what are we gonna do is just gonna leave it, minimize this screen, and go to your downloads directory. You will see this particular file. And one thing you'll notice with Windows, it doesn't show the extension. Okay, so it is actually .exe file, but you don't see the extensions. I think there is a way of changing it in here. I hate their file managing systems. Okay, it's pretty crap. Select inverse. I don't know where it is. Don't worry, but this is, bear in mind, this is .exe file. Okay, that is in Windows side. This is executable file. Okay, so we're gonna leave it the way it is now. Okay, for now, or you can actually bring it there. So we'll bring it a little later. So first thing we're going to do is basically from this particular site. So we've done that, and we're going to go back to Google. And the other side you need to do also is Microsoft, and it's called Office Customization Tool. Okay, so go right there, Office Customization Tool. So this is also important. Okay, so this is this site. Okay, and that's also Microsoft site. Okay, so go in there. So this is a little complicated, so just bear with me what I do here. So we're gonna generate an XML file. Okay, so we're gonna customize an XML file. That's why it's called customization tool. So you start off with 64-bit because most machines are 64-bit. Nobody use 32-bit machine anymore. These are processor architecture we're talking about. So leave it default, and then Office Suites in here. Click that drop down menu, and the one that you're looking for, or the one that I am looking for, is Office LTSC Professional Plus 2024 volume license. Okay, so don't go for standard, and if you want to go for Professional Plus 2021 volume license, that's cool as well. So let's jump right in and do the 2024 and see what happens. Okay, so I'm not promising that it's gonna work, but we can see what happened with the license and crap like that. So Office LTSC Professional Plus 2024 volume license, choose that one, and once you choose this one, just gently scroll down a little bit, and what we need to check is that it's a perpetual enterprise. Okay, so you just make sure that it's actually by default it will be chosen as such. Okay, so just make sure that it is, and then from here, as I mentioned, I don't need some of the stuff that I don't need at all. So we're gonna get rid of some of this stuff like OneNote I don't need, OneDrive Desktop I don't need, Outlook Classic I don't need, okay, Publisher I don't need. Okay, so I might keep it PowerPoint and Word and Excel and Access. Okay, so Access can stay there, it's a database. I've already worked with it, but it can stay there, and that's cool. So once you do that, click that next tab. So you can see on the right hand side pane that it is actually creating that XML format, okay, for you. I mean, whatever you're declaring and customizing. So from here, select language, make sure that is the United States, okay, and then you can click next. Okay, so once you come to that next tab, in here you don't particularly need to do that anything. So it's gonna content delivery network, CDN. Okay, so it's gonna content is gonna get these things from there, so you have to have internet connections. Okay, so you cannot do these things without internet connections. Okay, so I'm assuming that you have internet connections before you do anything. So click next, and from here you see this mentioned uninstall any MSI versions of Office, including a VCO and project. So as far as I know, that I don't have any VCO or project in here. Okay, so but for safe purposes, whatever, you just switch it off. Okay, so you ideally switch it off. Okay, and that's cool. So go to the next. So you're customizing, and what is happening is basically it's going to create or generate an XML file for you. Make sure it is in KMS. Okay, and after that, click next. Okay, so you come into this particular site now, so click next, just leave it, everything's right there. So this is what it has generated. Okay, and what I'm gonna do from here, we're gonna click finish button, and then if you see something like this is done. Okay, so what we need to do from here is we're gonna export it. So click export, and we want to export it as an XML file, right, as I mentioned before. So just click Office Open XML format, and click OK, and it will ask you to check for the license agreement. File name, we're going to keep it the way it is, configuration. Okay, so it's actually configuration XML file, and click export. So now it's gone, so it's downloaded that configuration XML file. That's cool. So now we can get out from Firefox, so we don't need browser anymore, so get rid of that. And of course you need a good machine, so I would say that your machine should have at least 8 gig RAM. So this is 8 gig RAM machine, so, and you need internet connection. So let's jump right in and see what happened. So we're gonna go to file manager. You see these two files there. There's one called configuration. This is actually XML file. Okay, these bastards in here in the file manager in Microsoft or Windows, they don't show. You can customize all that crap from here, but I don't have the time for doing any of that, so I'm not doing that. But it is actually XML file, and this one is the execution file. So these two files, what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to drag that into Office directory and do the same for this one as well. So put that 2 files into that Office directory. That was the whole purpose of creating that directory. So go in that directory, and now this one, just right click gently, and then going to run as the administrator. Okay, so click that. So it's asking you to do this, and then just accept. Click here to accept the Microsoft. So what's going to happen is basically it's going to connect with that content delivery network, the CDN, and bring up certain files that need to kind of invoke the Office installations. Okay, so click continue, and it asking you where you want it. So just make sure that you choose the right place. And we, in our case, is going to put the same directory, that is folder directory. So it's under your, so you go into your Red Hat. So I'm at Red Hat, and then you go to you can go to your, what do you call it, downloads. Okay, and then you have that Office. So in that Office directory, click OK. So you can see now there's couple more files suddenly came in here. Okay, so one, I said file extract successfully. One file is configuration Office 365 x64. Okay, and the other one is setup. Okay, so these files, so this one is an HTML document. So what the problem is, these bastards don't show you the extension. Okay, so that is something we can take a look first in the DOS. Okay, so you can go to the DOS. It's not that important, but let's just go into the DOS and do C, then / and then you are C is not recognizable. What the hell is that? CLS. I don't work with Windows, so it's kind of, the knowledge is kind of all C:/ maybe. Yeah, very odd. So you can do this way. So you are in the C, and from here the path we are looking for is dir, and then we can go to users, cd users. Okay, and then do dir again, and then you can have the customer, do cd customer, and then do dir again. So you come in here, and then you can see the downloads. So do cd downloads. Okay, and then CLS to clear the screen. Do your dir again, and then you see that Office directory. So do cd Office, and then do ls, do dir again, and then probably you'll be able to see the file extension, which is a lot better in that respect. Okay, so you can see the file extension. That is XML file, that is an XML file, that's an executable file. Okay, so that file can stay there or not staying there, doesn't really matter. And then the setup.exe file. Okay, so that's all cool. But what we're going to do as well, so from here we're going to come out C, hold on, CD, what was the CD is C. I didn't understand that. So how do you come into anyway, so you can do cd dot dot, cd dot dot is one way of doing it. Cd dot dot, cd dot dot. So you come to the C, and well, we don't need that, so we're gonna get rid of that first. This extra stuff you don't have to worry about. You know, I'm just making that video a little longer for no reasons. So you know now these are actually XML file. This is a setup.exe file. So we have this Office directory. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut that file. Okay, so you can go into quick access, downloads, and you can't really cut it even. You know, it's very poor. So you can cut it from here. Cut that file, cut that directory, and go to the local disk. Your local disk in here. This is C drive. Okay, and then paste it right here. So you got this Office. Okay, you got this Office directory right here, and you know, in that Office directory you got these files. Okay, so now you know we went to the C drive in a command line, so we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna do it, and you can type in here cmd, it will show up. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. So I got it in here anyway. So what we need to do, we right click and we want it as administrator. So run as administrator. Okay, so run as administrator, click yes. And we come to this particular page again. So from here, what we need to do is basically issue a command. So before we issue a command, we actually need to go into that directory. So cd dot dot and then cd dot dot. So you come out from here, cls, give some room, and then do dir, and then you will see that office directory somewhere, that office directory. So we're gonna go to that office directory again, and then we can do dir, and then you see these particular files. Okay, so from here we're going to issue a command, and that command is very easy. It's setup. Okay, so setup.exe, and then you can do /configure. I think it's called configure. Okay, so configure, and then your configuration XML file. You know the XML file, we customized XML file. So make sure that you have that configuration XML file. Okay, so you have configuration XML. Okay, so that's the file. So that is basically invoking, as I mentioned to you, to actually install your Office 2024. Okay, so there's two files here. One is a setup.exe file that actually came from that deployment tool. Okay, so when we extracted the deployment tool, it created that setup.exe file. Okay, so that will initialize the process of installing Office 24. That is just a tip of the iceberg, because when you install it, if things goes okay, it will not have any license, so you cannot really use it. So we're gonna have to do something else, and I will show you what to do after that. But it may take a while depending on your internet connections. Make sure your internet is working. This is an old machine, so it may take a while. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so this is the command, the setup.exe, and then you have configure and configuration XML file. Okay, make sure that it's configuration XML file, and click and press enter. So this looks like, okay, so what it is doing is basically it's going to that content delivery network and getting everything set up. Okay, so it may take, in my cases, I think it will take roughly around 5 to 10 minutes. It may take a while for certain machines or certain places where you have a internet connection which is not necessarily as fast as mine. Even mine one is relatively faster. It may take a while. Okay, so just bear with me. So it's a raw video. I'm not gonna cut and edit. I don't have time for making cut and edit in the video, so you're gonna have to just bear with me. Okay, or you can just fast forward the video and get to the last part. So the last part of this video is gonna be important, because what we do need to do is basically we're gonna check that it is actually installed. But once it installed, you see that the license is an issue, because without that product key you cannot actually do anything in Windows. So we need to go into a particular HTTPS or Windows activation site to activate it, but you have to do it in a PowerShell. Okay, so there is a command I'm going to issue. That command will help, hopefully. I'm not promising anything. Hopefully we'll be able to get rid of that license related activation issue. So it will be active. Hopefully it will be activated. I can't promise anything, so let's just see what happens. Okay, so I ran out of coffee. I need some coffee really. Yeah, just having a chat with my friend. She's also a developer. She works as a Java full stack application developer as well. So I thought that I'm just gonna send her a message. What I'm doing at this point, and she was asking me what the hell you want for Office or Microsoft. And I said, well, I need to work with Excel because it does help, with the Power Query things. It does help to create data dimension model. So I'm going to make another video at one point why I actually done that, why I needed Office, so that people can actually see how powerful that Microsoft Excel now. It was really crap in the past, but now it's no longer a small, granddad's Excel anymore. It's quite powerful. You can work with Power Pivot over millions of rows of data set, which you never thought that you could be able to do it in Excel. If you put out something like 100,000 data set or 100,000 rows of data into Excel, it just crashed. But now it's not any older Excel anymore. So you have the Power thing that was Excel Power Kit. So you have the Power Query and Power Pivot that can actually let you mashing up data and slicing and dicing and creating all kind of visualizations for you if you're working in data analytics and business intelligence, that people could never thought that Excel can do. But I am not a data analytics. I don't need to get into that level in terms of Power Pivot, although I can. So I just need Power Query because it does help to create normal form. Okay, we're talking about 3 normal form in SQL to create entity relation model. So that's why you need the Power Query stuff. Okay, so I think we are nearly there to finish it up in here. So let's just see how it goes. As I said, it takes roughly 5 minutes in my computers. So depending on where you are, it may take less or it may take more time to get it. So that will tell you, after that it will tell you 1 or 2 things that it is successfully installed or something. I hope, but it is, like I said, it just dropped in the bottle. So what happened is basically it will install it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's activated. So this activation thing is kind of rocky. So I'm not promising anything that it will work, but I'll give my best shot and see what happens. It's worth giving it a shot. A lot of people will just say, well, I don't know what to do, etc. So it's worth giving it a shot. It's worth learning from what I'm doing here. And installation finished, which is good. Okay, so you're all set. The Microsoft 365 Office appears installed in your computer, on your computer actually. So close that. And from here, so we can actually exit from this command shell. And now if you go in here, you see your stuff is here. Word is here, PowerPoint is here, Access is here, Excel is here as well. Okay, and what we do need to do, so Excel is here as well. So let's just click Excel and Excel will be fired off. Okay, so that's your Excel. But the problem is, you can see this things is activation wizard. The copy of Microsoft is not activated. Okay, so it's saying all that crap. Okay, so close that for now, and you can actually go into account, and you can see in here activation required. Okay, Microsoft Office LTSC Professional Plus 2024. The product contains this and that, and the product is unlicensed. Okay, so this is not activated. So, and you make sure that you are still installed, it's still logged in. Don't sign out at this point at all. Okay, as like Microsoft account holder, which is outlook.com. So this is the issue that without that you can't really utilize Excel at all. Okay, I'll show you why you can't Excel. So if you go, let's say, right click it, and then a lot of video you see in YouTube, they will show that, oh yes, well, it's not working, they're just crap, they're making a clickbait, and then just confusing you more. So let's say new Excel sheet, Microsoft Excel worksheet. If you go in there, so you create a new Excel sheet and click that, and then yeah, it's okay, Excel is here, but you see it's all de-highlighted, so it's not active. So you cannot really work here. Okay, so can you see this panel, the ribbon? You can't really do anything in that ribbons. Okay, so it's not allowing you to do anything. Okay, so because it's not activated. So we shall see, I will see whether we can resolve this issue. A lot of videos in YouTube, bear in mind, will show you, oh yeah, it's active, it's not activated. They're making a bullshit video just to make it clickbait to get some money out of it. Okay, so make sure that you know the difference between my video and their video. Their video may be nice and fancy. Don't judge books by its cover, always by its content. So they are very fancy. We make all kind of stuff with sounds and videos and all kind of accent with AI now. But at the end of the day, the product result is zero. Okay, so just make sure you know what you're watching. So the recycle bin, I go to recycle bin, and then this kind of stuff. So I like to keep my desktop clean, so I don't need that. So click all that. So now what we need to do is basically we need to go to PowerShell. Okay, so there is a command. I'm going to issue that command so that Windows can get activated. Okay, so you're going to go to PowerShell from here. So you can type PowerShell in search bar in here. PowerShell, and it will come up with this Windows PowerShell, but we're gonna do it because I got it right here somewhere. Where is it? Here, Windows PowerShell. So right click it, and then again run as administrator. Okay, so that's important. So click yes, and then you come to the same panel. So it's a bit different. Okay, so it's like a blue in the background, but it's fine. So from here, what we're gonna issue a command called IRM. Okay, and then we go to the site, which is URL address HTTPS, and then the address is get, if I remember right, activated dot activated. Okay, so SCTI activated, and then dot win, I think. So it's HTTPS get activated, so make sure that you don't make any spelling mistakes, and then pipe. That bar is called pipe sign. Okay, and then IEX, so that's the command. So IRM HTTPS, that's the address, and then IEX, and hit enter. So let's see what happened now. Okay, so it comes into this particular page. So from here, as you can see, what it's telling you, it's only activation methods. So you have Office is number 2. Okay, Office for activation is number 2. Can you see that? So it says choose the menu option using your keyboard. So now just press 2 in here and install OHook Office Activation, uninstall OHook. So we're gonna install Office Activation, download Office. So number 1. Okay, so press number 1 and initializing the process. So hopefully, I'm hoping that this will resolve the issue. So checking OS info. So what it does, what it is doing, you may want to keep a copy of that. Okay, so if everything's work out, so I'm hoping it works out. So production license activating Office, I think it's gonna work out for us. Oh yeah, so it says extraction successful, so Office is permanently activated. So that's cool. So what we're gonna do, this stuff, that what it has done, I'm gonna copy that. So the way you do it is basically so you can choose that. I think you can choose that. Select all, and then you can select all, and then you go to Notepad, your Notepad in here, and I think just type Control V, and it should be here. So I'm gonna save this file. Save as. Oh, okay. Before I do that, what I'm gonna do also. So you keep a record of everything that you do. Okay, so minimize that screen, and here it says press any key to go back, so press enter. So you come to that particular page. So this page you can actually also I don't know, you can actually copy this, right? Okay, and from here, well, okay, that's fine. So we could do 0 for exit, so press 0 and you're out. So in here, that command, we need this command, so we're gonna do this bit. Okay, so we're gonna copy all that and then come back to Notepad in here, just press Ctrl V. Okay, so you got that. So now you know this command. What is that command? This is tricky, isn't it? Yeah. Forget that. It's a bit tricky what it has done. It didn't actually so this is the command. Yes, I want that command in here. So Control V. Here we go. Okay, so IRM, so this is the command. Okay, so this page, so while it did that, so we got this bit, and then I know I'm making this lecture a little boring, but this is for your own what the fuck going on here. Yeah, that's fine. So we're gonna keep it that way. I don't know why this one has gone all the way down there. Oh, okay, try cross-platform. This one has gone all the way down there. I don't know why. So we're bring it here. That's fine. Here we go. Now let's take a look. And then we issued that command. And then that's it. Okay, so from here, so now we're gonna save this file. So just remember what you've done here. Okay, so this is the command, really important command. Okay, so this is all done. You can see successfully done. It says Office is permanently activated into the machine. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save this file save as. So you remember the most important thing is the command here. So we're gonna do Office 2024 for activation. Okay, Office 2024 activation txt. Save that. Okay, so we can close that. And I just want to change something else as well. So under documents we have this Office, so we're going to change that. We're going to rename that to 2024 actually. So initially I thought that I'm going to install 2021, but 2024 works just fine. Okay, so from here, so this is actually the command, the previous command. Remember these two command, setup configuration, setup slash configuration XML file. So that one was that one, 2024. Okay, so you keep a record of everything that you do for your own benefits. Okay, so rename that file again. Here we go. Right, okay, so that done. Office 2024 installation commands. So that was basically this bit where we have done, so we did the Office directory under C. That's fine. Okay, so from here I don't need file manager, so I'm going to minimize file manager now, so I can come out from here as well. So click exit. So let's just do it now for the last time. How long this video is now? Let's take a look. Okay, so the video is gone 38 minutes. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to finish this video shortly. So from here, so what we're going to do, let's say go to Excel again. So now you see accept the license agreement. So there's a new window came in. So make sure you click accept in here, and you are all set up. Okay, so now if you go into account, you see product activated. Okay, so you didn't have to pay anything for that. And now you can actually go to home page or just go to new and then blank worksheet, and you see that everything is active now, so you can do whatever. And you have your Power Query under data. Okay, so under data you can have get data. This is actually your Power Query screen, queries and connections in here. So this is your Power Query screen. So this tab is important. So you go to File tab. So under your Home tab, you have different stuff. Okay, so this is what you need for Excel. Okay, so that's cool. I hope you would like this lecture, and if you do, keep your thumbs up into my YouTube if you want to, and happy, happy coding. If you're a Java developer, happy coding. I'm gonna make that video total 40 minutes. I'm just waiting for the time to finish in here. Okay, so make it 40 minutes video. Okay, yeah, dudes. Okay, so hope you enjoy this video. So bye.